Scarecrow Festival is like the most important day of the year. What? Daft Cow?
This is just ridiculous. What the actual fuck?
Hey, what the actual fuckers, and welcome to another episode of WTAF, a This Country podcast. This is, don't wink at me like that, this is a very special episode because I have a man with me who can blow a mean horn just like Kerry and has left more DNA over a tennis racket cover than Martin Mucklow. It's Neil!
That's what she said.
And he's actually this side for a change.
I am. Yeah, and I
For a good reason.
I don't feel like a guest again.
No. But you're here for a good reason, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm your secretary.
You are. You're taking notes. Because,
I am.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, finally, to the WTAF podcast, Daisy and Charlie, Kerry and Curtin. Hello, how are you doing, guys?
Oh,
Good,
very well,
thank you.
thank you. Better
One-
for being here.
Oh.
Ah,
Well, first of all, we want to say thank you for a couple of Mondays ago for the
Yes.
wonderful preview showing. The curfew, or whatever it's called. Is it called a curfew?
embargo comes off on the
that's it.
20th.
Right, so we still can't talk
No.
about what we
Oh,
saw.
yes.
But, well
curfew.
done.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's not a curfew.
So you've got to
Yeah,
go out.
what-
Embargo.
I'm not the writer, you
Wait,
see. I'll
what's the
leave the
embargo?
fancy words to you
I want
two.
that we can't talk about what happened.
What actually
Yes.
happens. You're allowed to say it was really funny. It was
Yeah.
very funny, which
Great.
it was. And you're allowed to say it was good, and you're allowed to say it's great, and everything like that, but you're not allowed to do plot details.
Yeah.
Can we say that Kerry and Curtin are in it? Or?
Well,
Dunno,
would that be a spoiler?
What about when they get
Dunno.
abducted by aliens?
We find out they're all ghosts.
Right. We'll start off first of all, just in regard, because we don't want to go with the boring questions like you're going to probably get for the next couple of months, or you probably had for the last couple of months. But what was it like filming Series 2?
Well, what was it like filming Series 2?
Nightmare.
Was it easier? Put it that way.
I think it was harder for me because I was like 7 months pregnant and had to wear a massive fat suit to cover my bumps. So it was just, by the end of the day, it was this horrible, sweaty piece of foam. It just stank everything
Yeah, that
out.
was well. It's hard for you. Yeah, I mean, bringing
It is
pregnant,
hard for
it's
me,
quite
yeah.
difficult. But generally, I think it was a little bit harder. I found. I think we learnt more this second series. It's sort of the first series was only in 3 weeks, and the second one was 5 weeks, so a bit more time. And I think that there's a few moments where we sort of was overthinking things and probably you know didn't stick to our instincts about stuff, but in the end it was great. No, it was really good.
So when you were writing the second series, because part of me thinks it must have been easier because you've been through it and you've done it already, but then the second part of me thinks you had such a good reaction to the first series. Were you sort of like shitting yourself?
Well, yeah, a bit, because we spunked all our good storylines in the first series, so it's just like blew our load, and then we thought, what the fuck do we write about now?
Yeah, there wasn't really anything left over that went in. And there wasn't anything left over from the first series that went in, that we didn't use in the first series that went in the second one, really. We sort of started from scratch a little bit.
Do you have an actual writing process then? Or do you just sit and bounce ideas off each other and then go?
Well, we have an office in Siren in town. We try and get there early.
Yeah.
But then we
I'm
sort of
quite
leave.
lazy, so
we leave
I don't
early,
get
so
there. Yeah,
we work for about 2 hours a day.
we do. We have a cardboard tube in our office and a mouldy lemon, so we just end up playing baseball with it, don't we?
It's anything to not
Just
work.
does not
basically.
work.
You're living the dream,
Yeah.
basically,
Well,
aren't you?
it's quite.
Mouldy lemon. Yeah.
We do. It's quite difficult because we work, I guess, quite intensely for real short periods of time. But when you're trying to be funny, it's like it's draining, and you can only be funny for an hour a day.
Yeah.
But no, generally, I mean, we only had 5 months to do it, so it's a lot shorter. And that first series was like 28 years in the making, basically. All our sort of experiences in Siren Sister. But once we got going after the first sort of draft of the first episode, which was rubbish, I think it clicked and it came fairly easy. Once you're in the mode, it's great, and it's really fun to write.
I mean,
but yeah,
we're really lucky because we've got a great director and producer. Don't just direct and produce; they come down and like help us write storylines. So we just sort of all get in a room and say kind of what funny, trivial things have happened in Siren that week.
Yeah.
Maybe flick through the standard and just say, oh look, a bloke's taken 8 years to grow a pineapple. Can we possibly make a storyline out of this? And then, other people ever say yay or nay.
Yeah, but I think in terms of I guess we sort of improvise it and then just sort of like the dialogue, and then it's really hard to remember how it gets done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you start with a plot, or do you start with jokes and then work in?
Just funny moments, really. So, isn't it?
Well, the second series we were much more like, we tried to do it properly and storyboard ideas, and then, but they always change quite a lot when you start writing it. You realise stuff doesn't work, so it changes. But I guess each episode is different. It can start with a really stupid idea that we saw on a YouTube video, and that becomes, we sort of develop that, and that becomes like an idea for a whole episode, or
a Facebook argument that we've seen.
Yeah, it changes.
So as brother and sister, then, who has the upper hand? So who has the final? You think something's funny?
Definitely her.
Right. Okay. So she's the boss.
Because I'm funnier.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately, to you.
But then, what happens when you have the inevitable fallout? Like every brother and sister, every sibling has a fallout or
We
an
ring
argument.
up our mum.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
ring up
okay.
Mum. And then Mum will phone him up and say, "You have to be nicer to your sister."
Mm-hmm. And then she'll ring you up, going, "You have to be nicer to your brother."
But what we found out is she's been slagging
Yeah.
us off behind our backs. The other one.
Yeah.
We only just spoke about that the other day, didn't we? And found out that's what she's been doing.
I
Absolute
can't
cheat.
believe that of your mum. Your mum is so
She
sweet.
does.
Well,
She's
she's
evil.
trying to keep the peace by, pretending
Yeah.
that she's
on your side at the time.
when
then,
really
yeah, she's not on either side.
No, evil woman. No, we do argue, but the problem is, it's that thing of when you've got, when you've got deadlines and you can't afford not to talk to each other for a few days because work needs to be done. So you learn to. It's like, right, we've got to let's sort this out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what we argue about.
Food.
Food, if we do, yeah. Lunch,
Lunch. Where to go for lunch?
But it will start petty. and
Who's
then
getting the coffees from Cafe Nero is a massive...
Me, all the time. You never pay.
No.
But anyway, let's
You
not
don't want
get
to break
into
your
that.
creativity, do you?
Absolutely.
You can't pay
You have to feed the creative one.
Getting more
You're
rules
the
for the game
monkey
of
typing on the...
lemon ball, whatever.
Well, once the BBC money rolls in, you can get a fresh lemon, can't you? I mean, you get rid of that mouldy
yeah.
lemon.
Four even.
Oh, wow.
Let's roll.
Lime.
Go mental.
A lime. Wow. Now we're really pushing the boat out.
So when you were writing, right back to Kerry, when you did Kerry, were you involved in that as well?
Yeah, but I was just writing it. I helped writing it then.
Yeah.
I was never meant to be in it, so it was a real strange jump. But yeah, we started that. That was, I can't remember.
2011?
Well, we did the pilot of ITV in 2013, I guess, and then it didn't work out, and then we got dropped by ITV and the production company at the time, and then went to the BBC. And amazingly, got a series commissioned straight away.
Yeah.
Which is quite unheard of, but the commissioner was like, "Well, you've done a pilot already, so you might as well just do a series now." We're like, "Fuck." and when as soon as we went to the BBC, we're like, "Okay, let's just start completely from scratch." So we, got rid of most of the characters other than Kerry, and then it was your idea. Like, right, you've got to sort of step up and be in it. I was like,
Yeah,
God.
I mean, because whenever we read out the scripts, he just had the accent absolutely nailed, obviously, because he's from Siren, knew what the inflection was and the intention of the line.
Well, yeah, it's easier when you
And
when
it's
you write
just like,
it.
well, why don't you just fucking be in it? And then you were. And you were brilliant.
Yeah, it was just, it happened quite naturally, but no, because we had we had various people trying, who were all great, who did the version of Curtain before Curtain existed. And yeah, I think it was a case of just...
It was never quite like how Charlie did it, because obviously they were brilliant actors, but they're not from the place, and they didn't know how we would written the character.
And so much of it is, chemistry. It's easier. It's chemistry because obviously we're brother and sister, so we're not telepathic, but I know if fucking I can't talk. If we're improvising stuff, it's quite easy to know what she's going to do or predict it. So that's why it's so much fun and stuff like that.
Well, is that one of the big bonuses of... Does somebody that's coming into a scene, if you're both riffing off each other, do they find it quite hard to get into that groove? Or now that you've worked so well together for a while, that people can sort of work in that a bit more?
I don't know, but everyone we had come in the second series was amazing.
Yeah.
with even.
But then we do, like, in the audition, like for after the audition process, we had like a week where we did improvs with acting coach called Miranda Harcourt, which was amazing. So have that time to be able to get to know the other actors and like each other's rhythms within the improv. And
yeah, we had quite a good rehearsal time for this series, which is so important because most jobs you get actors who come in, they'll do the audition, get the job, and then they'll only turn up on the day when they're meant to be filming. So for example, if you're meant to look like you have a close relationship with someone but you've only met them on set just before you start filming, it's so, well, obviously that's what acting is. You're good at your job, but for us, it was about, trying to create chemistry and a relationship before we start filming. So we did lots of different things. Like, we had a great sort of, she was sort of like a drama coach, but it was more about just forming those relationships with the actors. So we would go to, there was a great one where our dad, who plays Martin Mucklow, went to the shop with another guy who was in one of the episodes who was meant to be his friend in the new series. And so the woman, the acting coach, was like, right, okay, so
as your characters,
go to the shop in Northleach and buy some Johnnies.
Yeah.
and no one went with them. They just did it and they came back. But I think it was little experiences like that when you're acting, you can recall those moments and it's more authentic.
No, but what actually happened was Dad panicked and then ended up buying a loaf of bread and some toilet rolls. But didn't get the Johnnies.
He didn't get Johnnies.
Well, it'd have to be a baguette because he is blessed downstairs. Isn't he? I mean, just hollow that out, it'd be fine.
Could have been a scandal. But no, there's little things like that we tried to do differently this series, but I think it all helped overall.
Had you acted before then, Chuckley?
No, nothing really. We did a couple of like testers, didn't we, with director?
Yeah. You did act when we were 8 years. When you were about 8 years old, Charlie and I used to do like home videos. We just used to do like Indiana Jones, didn't we, on the kitchen table?
Yeah, it was rubbish.
But I've seen your Liam Gallagher and your Noel Gallagher videos on YouTube. They were really good.
Thank you.
It's terrible. We were so bored. We had nothing else to do than that day.
Yeah, we did it.
Because I also noticed, like, I think there's a couple of other people that I've spoken to online that have like tried to find, obviously, the Kerry pilot. They're looking everywhere to see if they can find it. You will never find it.
Right. And it is good that it is never found because it is fucking awful. It is horrendous.
Is it the sort of thing that when you're sat in your Beverly Hills mansion, you might go, "I'll let them watch it"?
No, not even on
it's
my
like when the
deathbed.
whistle blows. It's worse than when the whistle blows.
Is it really?
Oh, really?
It's
Without the irony.
terrible.
Yeah, it's shite.
Right, okay. But there is a couple of clips of Kerry talking to her mum.
Yeah, that was
on
just
YouTube.
That was just
that's
us.
different. That was the first thing when we first created that character and the show. That was the first videos we did. We just put them on YouTube straight away.
Right.
And then we wrote sort of rough scripts, like a couple of pages or whatever.
Yeah.
And then sent it to production companies. I think along with that, we sent the clips, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
So it's just give people an idea of what it was.
What the character was. So that was really, really early days. You can tell by how thin I am.
There was one question that somebody did ask, and I'm sorry because I can't remember who it was who asked it. How old are Curtin and Kerry supposed to be, or is it a little bit sort of in the air?
Yeah, no, everyone else, I think it's like as young as they can get away with looking, which I would guess would be early 20s to mid 20s.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're not. Some people think they're teenagers, which they're not.
No, definitely not.
But that's the whole
you
point.
Can tell by my sort of jowls.
The whole point is that it's sort of better the older they are because the fact that they haven't grown up and there's people in this town. Well, like us, we didn't.
Yeah.
We're still doing what Kerry and Curtin do now.
Yeah.
We're 28.
Sad. That's very sad.
Well, I just